Well, hello. Today we have another reading from the Torah of the Rabbi Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld on the Parsha. The book is Rabbi Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld on the Parsha, and we'll get to it. Oh, by the way, my great niece is very talented, and she gave me all these different things, different works of art that she had made. We can get into this later, not this time, some other time. And here, she made this also. She gave me this. She comes around and gives me her works of art. So that's very nice, very, very nice. Anyway, let's get to Rabbi Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld on the Torah. Here it is, Rabbi Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld on the Parsha. Oh, now we can see it much better. This is Parshas Bo. Let's see where we're up to. Oh yeah, Parshas Bo. That was this past Shabbos' Parsha. That's the portion of the week. So we have here the dismissal of Moses and Aaron. Vayigorei Shosam me'es penei Pharaoh, and he drove them away from the presence of Pharaoh. In other words, Pharaoh drove them away. Moses and Aaron, Moshe and Aaron. The word penei, the presence of, seems to be superfluous. What would have been lacking had the Torah said simply, Vayigorei Shosam me'es penei Pharaoh? He drove them away from Pharaoh. In other words, the word penei, from the presence of. If he would have said, and he drove them away from Pharaoh, wouldn't that have been enough? So why does it have to say penei? The word penei, wrote Rav Yosef Chaim, bears the connotation that the unceremonious dismissal of Moses and Aaron took place only in the presence of Pharaoh. Once they exited Pharaoh's chamber, however, they met with a different attitude entirely. There, out of Pharaoh's sight, they were accorded the greatest respect. For, as the Torah tells us later, quote, the man Moses was very great in the land of Egypt, in the eyes of the servants of Pharaoh, and in the eyes of the people. So in other words, when Pharaoh drove Moses and Aaron away so unceremoniously, this was only from his own presence. So, but once they reached the outer chambers and they were dealing with the other people, with the servants of Pharaoh in the palace, they accorded Moses, Moshe, and Aaron very great respect. So, in other words, from the presence of Pharaoh, once they were away from the presence of Pharaoh, then they were accorded a lot of respect. So that's why the Torah says penei Pharaoh, the face, the presence of Pharaoh. Once they were away, then they had a lot of respect. Let's take a look at some other part of the Torah. This is a very good book. It can be purchased. Rabbi Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld on the Parsha. So you can learn things that Rabbi Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld wrote, or how he conducted himself according to the Parsha of the week, the Sefer of the week. Let's take a look at this. Custom and compassion. HaChodesh hazeh lochem Rosh Chodoshim. This month shall be for you the beginning of the months. 12:2. That's the 12th chapter, the 12th portion and the second verse. There is a custom observed by many women to refrain from doing certain chores on Rosh Chodesh. See Shulchan Aruch. That tells you exactly where over here. That's OC is Orach Chaim and page 417. In Rav Yosef Chaim's day, washing machines were still quite uncommon in Israel, and certainly in the impoverished neighborhoods of the old Orthodox community. A washerwoman would be hired on laundry day, and she would slave over a tub and washboard, scrubbing each item individually from dawn to dusk, all for a very modest wage. Understandably, it was generally women from very poor families who engaged in this occupation. One Rosh Chodesh day, before Rav Yosef Chaim set out for prayers, a loud commotion was heard from down the block. The Rav asked his daughter-in-law, who had moved in along with her family after the Rebbitzin's death, if she might go and see what the fuss was all about. It seems that one of the women who lived in Batei Machaseh, Rav Yosef Chaim's neighborhood in the old city of Jerusalem, had hired a Yemenite washerwoman to come to do her laundry that day. When the woman arrived in the pre-dawn darkness to begin her work, however, her would-be employer told her that she had forgotten that that day was Rosh Chodesh. The custom was not to do laundry on Rosh Chodesh, and the woman was adamant about scrupulously observing this practice. She therefore told the laundress to go home. The dismayed washerwoman explained that if she did not work on that day, she would literally not have any money to feed her children, since her husband was incapacitated and she was the sole supporter of the family. An argument ensued, and this was the early morning commotion that Rav Yosef Chaim and the rest of the neighborhood had heard. When Rav Yosef Chaim heard what had happened, he quickly asked his daughter-in-law, do we have any dirty laundry in the house for which to employ this woman? The daughter-in-law replied that she thought she could round up a bit of work for the laundress to do. Quickly then, Rav Yosef Chaim urged her, go bring the woman to our house for a few hours. To cause sorrow and pain to a poor Jewish woman like this is a much more serious sin than breaking a religious custom. The daughter-in-law ran to call the woman to her house before she had a chance to leave the neighborhood. She set up the tub and washboard and brought in the laundry for the washerwoman. Just then there was a knock on the door. It was the woman who had originally hired the laundress. Quote, if the Rav can have his laundry done on Rosh Chodesh, then so can I, she declared, and she rehired the Yemenite woman for the day. So we see that Rav Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld said that custom and compassion, that it's much more important not to cause sorrow and pain to the poor Jewish woman over here. To cause sorrow and pain to a poor Jewish woman like this is a much more serious sin than breaking a religious custom. So he put things into perspective over there. And anyway, let's take a look. I think I saw something else. And there's a lot more over here. Anyway, all right. Thank you very much. We can call that This is very nice. This is Chachmas. It's called Chachmas Chaim, the wisdom of Chaim. Rav Yosef Chaim, Sonnenfeld on the Parsha. Compiled by Rabbi Shlomo Zalman Sonnenfeld. So here we go. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Talk to you soon. Take care.